Welcome to the AI Hustle Podcast, the podcast where we break down the latest in AI news, tools, and interview experts helping you hustle and do more using AI. If you've been following the podcast for a while, you'll know that over the last 6 months, I've been working on a stealth AI startup. Of the hundreds of projects I've covered, this is the one that I believe has the greatest potential. So today I'm excited to announce AIBox. AIBox is a no-code AI app building platform paired with the App Store for AI that lets you monetize your AI tools. The platform lets you build apps by linking together AI models like ChatGPT, Midjourney, and 11 Labs. Eventually, we'll integrate with software like Gmail, Trello, and Salesforce, so you can use AI to automate every function in your organization. To get notified when we launch and be one of the first to build on the platform, you can join the waitlist at aibox.ai. The link is in the show notes. We are currently raising a seed round of funding. If you're an investor that is focused on disruptive tech, I'd love to tell you more about the platform. You can reach out to me at jaden@aibox.ai. I'll leave that email in the show notes. One of the biggest problems that social media sites face today is content moderation. If they moderate too much, it's considered censorship. If they don't moderate enough, well, you see terrorists on your Facebook feed. So a real big issue is being grappled with, and OpenAI has just announced a new feature where they believe GPT-4 can solve this problem. Now, if you follow this space at all, you know that this is a controversial issue. Up until this point, Facebook has entire, moderation departments that look through all of the flagged posts and comments on Facebook. But the main issue here is that some of the content that they're looking through is so disturbing that they really, you feel bad for the people that have to moderate this content. And to that end, Facebook doesn't actually have employees that do this. They're all independent contractors where they've hired third-party firms to kind of take care of this. And it kind of begs the question, right? Why couldn't you just hire an employee to do this? And the reason is, I think they're really worried about the lawsuits, the trauma. They don't really know what the mental or emotional damage of this whole situation is. And so because of that, OpenAI has, unveiled essentially an innovative technique for content moderation using GPT-4. So, of course, this is its leading generative AI model, and the aim is essentially to alleviate the load on human moderators. And this is all explained in a recent post on the official OpenAI blog. So, the method essentially centers on feeding GPT-4 with a guiding policy for making moderation decisions. And this is followed by a set of content samples that might be in compliance or breach of your specific company's policy. So, for instance, a policy that, forbids offering directions or counsel for obtaining weapons would flag the example, give me the ingredients needed to make a Molotov cocktail would be a clear breach, right? And then they would be able to flag that. So the next step involves policy experts labeling these samples. So they input each example into GPT-4 without the label, comparing the model's labeling decisions with their own and making necessary refinements. So according to OpenAI, by examining the discrepancies between GPT-4's judgment and those of humans, the policy expert can ask GPT-4 to explain its labeling rationale. This allows them to dissect ambiguities in policy definitions, clear up misunderstandings, and make the necessary amendments to the policy. This iterative process really continues until the policy quality meets the desired standard. So OpenAI states that this approach is already in use by several clients that can slash the time needed to introduce new content moderation policies into essentially mere hours. So they say that essentially their method holds an edge over others, like the ones from startups like Anthropic, who is trying to do something similar. OpenAI criticizes the alternatives as being too dependent on models, essentially, and what they say are models, internalized judgments that are not allowing for, quote, platform-specific iterations. So, yet AI-powered moderation isn't a novel concept, right? Google's counter-abuse technology team and Jigsaw division have been maintaining Perspective, which was released to the general public some years ago, and at numerous startups, including Spectrum Labs, Cinder, Hive, and then there's also the newly Reddit-acquired Odorloo, which also offers automated moderation services. So these tools are not without their flaws. For example, a past study from Penn State highlighted that certain social media posts discussing people with disabilities were wrongly flagged as negative or toxic by some wildly are widely used sentiment and toxicity detection models. And another research pointed out that older iterations of perspective frequently misjudged hate speech, especially those with altered phrasing or, reclaimed, quote unquote, reclaimed terms. So one core challenge stems from annotators. So the individuals tasked with labeling training data for these modules, imposing their own biases. So noticeably, there's often a disparity in labels from those who identify as all sorts of minorities compared to those who don't. That is according to an article at TechCrunch and what they've outlined there and what they've apparently found. So OpenAI acknowledges these complexities, admitting, quote, judgments by language models are susceptible to biases that may have been instilled during training. So the organization really kind of stresses the importance of ongoing human oversight, and they specifically said, quote, results and outputs will need persistent monitoring, validation, and refinement by keeping humans actively involved. So I think while GPT-4's, predictive power may promise enhanced moderation outcomes compared to, some of the previous platforms, I do think it is very vital to recognize that even state-of-the-art AI isn't infallible. And I think the significance of human involvement, especially in moderation, remains very, very important. So overall, I think this is a very interesting area to follow. I think that, as with the problem I mentioned at the beginning with Facebook and kind of their whole content moderation army that they hire or outsource to contractors, I think if we could get some of that done by GPT-4 or other AI models and take some of the pain away from humans, in my opinion, that would be great, right? Like, I think a lot of times when we talk about AI and it can do something that a human could do, people are like concerned, oh no, AI is taking human jobs. I think there's some cases where humans, if we could avoid it, shouldn't have to see grotesque and horrible things or hear horrible things as the moderators of these platforms. In my opinion, that's just not a job that is probably very healthy for your mental health. And so, I know that there's definitely a lot of professions. There's police work and all sorts of other professions where they have to deal with a lot of hard, traumatic, tough situations like that. I mean, even doctors, right, or surgeons, what they have to see and go through might be considered traumatic or hard for someone, but for them, it's their profession, their job. So there definitely is, there's room for everyone in that conversation. But I do think that this one may be an area that would be great if we could get AI to kind of help with. And so it's going to be interesting to see how ChatGPT, GPT-4 actually plays out in solving that issue. Definitely an area we'll follow in the future as this gets rolled out to more and more companies. If you are looking for an innovative and creative community of people using ChatGPT, you need to join our ChatGPT creators community. I'll drop a link in the description to this podcast. We'd love to see you there, where we share tips and tricks of what is working in ChatGPT. It's a lot easier than a podcast, as you can see screenshots, you can share and comment on things that are currently working. So if this sounds interesting to you, check out the link in the comment. We'd love to have you in the community. Thanks for tuning in to the AI Hustle podcast. If you could do us a massive favor, we would really, really appreciate it if you could leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. This helps people find the podcast. It helps people know this is a good place to go. And we would really, really appreciate it, as it helps us continue to bring on incredible guests and share incredible content for you to listen to.